It's time to get real about shit and have some hard conversations and rip apart topics to make sure we advocate for every angle of that topic. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate, brought to you by INDEE. Give your fandom a recharge, and hosted by the uncanny indie devil, Mr. Anderson. Follow all the comics Devil's Tales at MrAnderson.com.
Original music by Unicorn Heads for the YouTube audio library. This music is free for you to use on YouTube videos. Find the music in YouTube audio library in the Creator's Studio. Search Unicorn Heads.
And now on to the topic. The opinions expressed in the following broadcast are not necessarily those of INDEE Media LLC, its staff, contributors, or sponsors. Viewer discretion is advised. Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and/or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and/or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, everybody. Welcome to it. We got another great show for you today. It's a holiday, so not sure who's going to show up, who will be watching this live. We already got a controversial question that came in before the show even started, so we'll be addressing that. Right now, it's just me, believe it or not. First time, well, not the first time, first or second time we're starting the show off by myself, but I figured this weekend was going to be a little more quiet because, of course, it's Labor Day. So let's get into it, shall we, a little bit? All right. First off, I just want to point out this.
Well, I used to collect, and I love comic books. And they were like, so, did you ever want to make a comic book? And I was like, yeah.
Hell yeah, who doesn't want to make a comic book? Because
comics are awesome.
And that they are. However, there is a bit of a back and forth in today's topic for those who aren't aware, and for our radio audience, you poor fool! It's not a community, it's a cutthroat industry. So the link's already in the chat rooms. You guys can go ahead and you can jump in if you want to. We'll see who wants to step up and take a side, I guess. As you can see, it's just myself. Meredith's already running in, so I guess I'm not going to be alone. I was going to say this could have been the first Devil's Advocate that was a half an hour, but I guess there goes that.
I didn't want you to be alone, Rob.
I'm sure there are going to be people who pile in because this one's controversial. This one is honestly one of those that they always has someone's opinions hurt. You know what I mean? And we'll see. Well, I mean, you call yourself the comics noob. What do you think? Let's start there from someone who's just gotten into this within the, last year, we'd say?
Oh, yeah, definitely in the last 6 months.
All right, so over the last 6 months, would you call it a community, or would you say it's more so what I'm saying it is, honestly, it is a industry.
Comics?
Yeah, the comics, everything that goes into it, all these groups, all these people together. Do you really feel like there's a community out there? Not to say there aren't, and I do want to stress at the beginning of the show, are there smaller communities of people banding together? Absolutely. Are comics as a whole a community? Absolutely not. That is where I kind of feel it is. I think it's an industry. This isn't necessarily a change my mind at all, mind you. But I am opening the room to anyone's opinions. That's how I feel about it. And I used to believe it was a community. When I first started in here, people told me it was a community. Before I get into more of my opinions, I want to know yours. Because when you're new, it's harder to see some of the things that I've seen from the years, 5 years of covering creators and having lines drawn around me and people telling me what to do has made me a little bitter, if I'm being honest.
Okay. So I might be new to comic books, but I wasn't born yesterday. You know, I've been in business. I've been a creator for the majority of my life. And I mean, my honest comeback would be it's both. You have communities. And I agree with you that there are small communities who band together because they have like-minded things, whether it's a subgenre or whether it's a style or whether it's you remember that movie Drumline?
No, because I never watched it.
Okay, it's actually a really, really good movie. And the thing is, you have a marching band. It's a story about a marching band, but every section says we're the ones that make this great. We're the ones that make this great. So when I think about comic books, and as I'm learning all the things that go into it, from your pencilers and your inkers, your colorists, your writers, they all have a certain strength that they bring to it. And so there's going to be a little ego when it comes to that. And then you have your people who are just, it's human nature to kind of form into groups of people who are like-minded and cliquey. And that's human nature. So, but it is absolutely an industry. Absolutely. Just like any other, just like if you were writing a book or making a movie or getting a band together to go out and perform. We all want to hustle. We all want to create. The motivation is, what is the motivating factor behind that? That's another question that I would ask. If you are, if you're in it only for the money, are you going to be successful? You might. But you might cut corners or you might climb on somebody's back to do that. I'm not saying that everybody would, but a lot of times when money is the motivating factor, you'll have issues like that. If it's about putting your head down and actually creating something and then trying to find a team to make it work, to make your book come into existence, sure, it's collaborative, but at the end of the day, it's business.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I didn't realize when I first got in, and I realize it now. People tell you it's a community so they can tell you their rules, so they can give you a structure. When it's an industry, there aren't as many rules as much as be an innovator and don't do things that are going to make enemies of people. That's basically industry, because industry is always growing, it's adapting. Calling it a community gets to have people in charge. Oh, well, we're the wise ones who know what's going on. And this, for a time, probably was more community-based than it was now because you needed to know certain people to do things. Just within the last 7 years, comics have completely changed. 7 years ago, I would have argued that you probably were a little more accurate to call it a community, because if you didn't know people, you didn't know where to go. It wasn't as easy to get in touch with people. Sites like mine and other sites out there have broadened and brought more awareness to it. We have a lot more people in comics now because of the movies. But you always had gatekeepers. You always had people who wanted to control the narrative. And that's where I felt right now that comes from, that heavy leaning of, no, this is a community. Because there are a lot of people losing control now. Because you don't need a publisher anymore. You can go to Kickstarter. Truth is, you can go to Kickstarter and not need a publisher anymore, not like you used to have to. So that changed everything. I also think that it's an industry because in the end of the day, especially lately, all you see is these creators stabbing each other in the back to get ahead. Communities don't work that way. When we see someone who's abusive, a community gets rid of that person. We don't. We allow that person to make excuses. If we're in a local community, me and you, Meredith, and we find out some guy's abusing women in our community, we're not going to want him in our community anymore, are we?
Correct.
But in the indie community, we don't clean up. So that's why I don't think it's a real community. I think there are small pockets that make communities. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it's going to be exclusive or anything like that. You're going to be hard pressed to find one without the other, and you have to what Ralph was saying, that you have some communities, sub-communities, Facebook groups, whatever you want to call them, wherever it is that you congregate. If you want to be in a group, those groups usually have a gatekeeper. They have rules. They have expectations from their members and things like that. And that's fine and good. But if you don't like it, don't join the group.
That's a perfect example. If we're a community, how come we don't all have one group?
Well, that would be, I could argue back that, how come we don't just write one way?
No, that's different because that's storytelling. But a community would have one group, one place, one designated area. Every community has that. Just how it is. That's what makes a community. So that's not a community. Your argument, you're missing what I'm saying. I'm not saying there wouldn't be smaller groups within there.
Right.
I'm saying if comics were a community, there would be one group where everyone would have to come to, because that's what being part of a community is. You have to show up. You have to be known. That's what comics were sold to people like me when I first got in this.
My perspective is coming in as a newbie. All right. I'm actually working on 2 scripts right now that are my stories that I'm converting into prose. And I'm coming in, and by me saying I am creating a comic book, I am writing a script for a comic book, I have entered into a comic book community. Where it is I fall, where it is that I go for mentorship and things like that, that's on me, and then it whittles it down. So I do believe that there's a greater community of people who just by default say, I'm creating a comic book. That's what I want to do. Okay. And maybe I'm defining community wrong, but in my head, that's what it feels like.
How do we actually look at work?
It's a field, because it's a field that I want to get into. So by saying I'm doing this, I've entered into the field. Therefore, it is that community.
Let's actually look up the definition. And I know, because we actually did a panel on this of 6 months ago now. Wow, it's been 6 months, about 5 or 6 months ago. We actually did do a panel on this, and it was rather interesting. And we had 5 people on arguing different points about it. And I was known as one of the biggest cheerleaders of the quote unquote comics community. And one of the problems with it being a community was that also there were rules and there were pecking orders. Looking at it as an industry has freed me up to really just help people. I don't have to worry about lines like Comicsgate and SJWs and who's who, because that's communal, different breaking and people gatekeeping. So let's see. Community is defined as a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common, which would go along with what you just said. Everyone creating a comic makes a community. So that could be one.
Well, and again, very broadly, I've stepped onto the field.
Yeah. No, but it makes sense. But a feeling of fellowship with others is a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. And again, that would agree with what you're saying. But a group of independent organisms of different species growing or living together in a specific habitat would, again, the only problems that come up with it that I had, and I remember this from when we did it, is here we go. A body of nations or state unified by common interests. The problem is we're not unified anymore. That was my argument. So I'm kind of ready for this one. We stopped you being unified. And that's my entire argument why it's not a community anymore. We don't support each other like we used to. We make rules, and we already have someone in the chat trying to be someone who wants to be self-important. And I'm going to unfortunately have to address something that's going to make someone look rather bad today on the program. But I don't run from controversy. So, we're going to address that in just a few minutes. But I did want to get it out of the way. And I do think that it's one of these stances that you can't 100% be right about it, because it's all the point of view where you're standing. Someone who's been in the industry for over 5 years now covering it, I'm going to see things that no one else knows is there. So I get a different point of view than the person in the center.
That's fair, though, Rob, because you've been in the industry and you've seen people kind of migrate to certain groups and things like that. And whether it's hive thinking or group think, whatever it is that you want to call it, or just the way they do things or their rules, their gatekeeping, again, for me, when I'm thinking community, I am thinking much broader. Again, stepping onto the field puts me into this community. Where I go from there, who I align myself with, what groups I go to, who I connect with for mentorship and things. That's where you get onto the field, and that's where you start seeing the lines. And that's not a lie, but people need those groups to fit in. And to I don't know the right word to say it right now, but I mean, they need that structure, they need that guidance, because a lot of times people cannot they can't go out there alone. Maybe it's a confidence thing. I don't know what it is. I mean, personally, I couldn't get as far as I've gotten without the people that I've aligned myself with. So, so there is that. Now, do I want to pigeonhole myself into anything? No, I'm kind of open to discussion. I will join the different Facebook groups and see what they're doing. And, if they seem legit or open or helpful, I'll pay more attention and I'll engage. But I've also been in plenty of other groups that, they take a newbie and they just chew them up and spit them out. And there's no help there. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's not for me. And I leave. That's a wonderful thing about free will.
Well, no, and granted, but the problem, again, that I have with the idea of calling a community is now that we have Comicsgate, now that we have the Whisper Network, these things are preventing us from having a community currently, because now there's rules. You can't just be a comic book creator anymore. It used to be that simple. We literally had an argument this week about someone not being allowed to be in a Facebook group. It was a very childish argument, and it was a very dangerous one, because groups have preset rules. No one should get upset about a Facebook group. It's a Facebook group. But this literally led to racist comments. And those racist comments were then argued whether or not they really were racist comments. And people took sides on it. And it was very disgusting. It's very disgusting when something gets chopped up to the point where even the truth gets hidden. And we're going to talk a lot about that because someone had made a comment about it. If anyone else who has the keys to get into the yard wants to be part of the conversation, they can let themselves in. But for right now, it's just me and Meredith. And of course, we have the StreamYard code over there that we allow people on the show. So you just don't have to shit talk in the actual threads. You can come on live and try to shit talk. But
yeah, absolutely. Come on in, have the discussion and things. And that's the thing. I want to say that we are open enough to have a discussion without devolving into name calling or anything like that. There's no reason for that. And quite honestly, if you start name calling, you lost.
Yeah. Yep. I could not agree more. I do want to get to some comments. Anyone is welcome in the room. I'm not going to add anyone unless they want to be added. So we're going to start off with some comments now. Here we go. We're starting off hard and heavy. Yoda SJW says, Anderson, that's me. I'm a hypocrite because I tried to cancel Joel Tulliver. He did. I did cancel someone? Nice. Refuses to answer tough questions. He does. Meredith, have you ever seen me refuse to?
I've never seen you back down from a tough.
Community comics is not a business. It is learn this, you will, or lose money you shall.
You gotta talk in the Yoda voice, I guess, to understand.
No, it's not even in the right Yoda voice. That's the problem. Like, this person thinks they're clever, but they're really not clever. And I'm not trying to pick on them. It's just all done wrong. So here we go. Let's talk about Joel Tolliver. I didn't know who Joe Tolliver was. There was a video we talked about. People got all upset about group ethics of Facebook, and they had a 2-hour conversation that I lost part of my life because of. And I really think it sucked just a little bit more of my soul away. No one looked good in that. It was an ugly video, and I think everyone left it regretting being part of it. Everyone thought it was going to go away. It did not. One of the people involved put out a post apologizing for what were racist comments made towards an individual who was part of that. That individual ran the group. And I'm not naming names because I'm not trying to name names deliberately, because I'm not trying to call anyone out, cause anyone harm. I have to now address this because someone wants to be in a position of, ooh, I can make Rob look bad. You're not going to make me look bad. Because here's what happened. I was tagged in a comment and I went to go see it. That person thanked me for standing up for them and kind of reaching out to them, making sure they're okay. Sure enough, the first person who comments is Joe. Now, this gentleman had talked about how he had racist comments delivered to him, and he's not going to take it any further. He's debating how to handle it because a lot of us wanted to know who in our friends list are possibly racist, right? You want to know that. You don't want those same people, and we wanted to see receipts and stuff. We wanted to understand this because in this community or industry, there's just no room for racism. I think we can all fundamentally agree with this. But Joe decided to turn around and said something to the effect, and I can't call it up because it was deleted because of comments like Joe, who turned around, and mind you, I was tagged in that comment, so I had a reason to be there. Joe decided to just put himself in, and Joe's first thing is stop playing a victim. Someone just told you they had racist comments made. It's 2020. And the person just told you they had racist comments. And Joe's reaction is to stop playing the victim. It gets worse. My man, who's my friend and an ethical person, I've broken bread with him. I've known him for years. I've seen how he operates. If he is lying, this will be the first time I am aware of it. And I do not think he is lying. Begins to show some of the things that were texted to him. Now, he doesn't have names at this point because they texted to a phone line. So he puts up the phone number and starts showing some of the things texted. Oh, someone else gets all upset. Oh, you're doxing people. You're doxing people. Hold on, let me finish. It's drawn out. I have to cover it. Unfortunately, I have to cover it. So, oh, no, you can't dox people. You can't dox people. Forgetting that there's a thing called a phone book. Well, just forget about that. Oh, it's illegal. This leads everyone to think, well, wait, why is this person so eager to take down numbers? He must know some of these numbers now, right? Because clearly those numbers might be in his phone. So does he have racist friends he's defending? And it gets uglier. I point out to this guy, and I'll own it. I right away said, hey, what would you think that the company he works for, and I won't even name them now, would think if they saw this? You're not acting professional. This is the wrong way to handle your behavior. Do not come in here and try to cause more problems. He just told you that there were racist comments made about him. And your first thing is, oh, stop playing a victim. Really? Is that the person you want to be publicly? Really think about that for a minute. And then he started to produce evidence in the thread. And this Joe character decided to keep going. Now, Joe can show up here anytime. And me and Joe can have a conversation if he wants to have one. I am always open to that. And he can tell us why he wants to be such a negative person online and how he wants to go around attacking people. And all I did was tell him flat out, and imagine that, a screenshot of that. Someone just said that there had racist comments. Your first comment is stop playing a victim. Right now, with everything going on, is that a good look, Meredith?
No.
I mean, like,
very simply, no.
Yoda, SJW, you just lost the SJW. I'm sorry, we have to take away your SJW. You can now be Yoda shit starter if you want. SS, shit starter. I think that'll fit you better if you're going to defend someone who's attacking someone who was producing evidence in the thread. And Joe was like, oh, I need screenshots now. And you have someone else, no, don't show anything else. No, stop showing things. So I got involved because I was tagged in it and defended my friend. Never said anything that wasn't true, never tried to cancel anyone. I made an obvious point. In this day and age, if you don't know about screenshots, you don't belong in this industry. You shouldn't be saying things. The things I say, I know are going to be screenshotted. There are days I wish I could have had something back. And when pointed out to him, he doubled down on stupid. He didn't go, wow, didn't think of it that way. You're right. Maybe I shouldn't have come in so hard. Instead, he said, I don't like Terrence. He's not a good person. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to say the name. I was reading the quote in my head. Sorry about that. I don't mind him. I don't like him, but, at least I don't think that he's being a bad person. He doesn't need a sheep to defend him. And I'm just like, dude, are you trying to really upset me? Like, you have to understand how you look in this thread. Why would I be upset about someone who, when someone said that there was a racist comment made at them, their first instinct is to go, stop playing the victim? Really? Do you not have a television? I'm asking for a friend. Have you not watched the news in any part of 2020? I'm just asking again for a friend. These are real serious questions. So Yoda, we're not even going to say the end of your name because you're no longer allowed to have that, considering who you've defended. And I'm gonna call the SJW League, and I'm gonna tell them about what you've done tonight. They're gonna come get the SJW. Write off your name. You're gonna wake up tomorrow and it won't even be there. And again, there are links to come in here, so I am not running my mouth. You're more than welcome to come in here.
Yeah, links are public. You've been shared, and really, honestly, Yoda's the only one throwing down names here.
Yep.
Come on in and have a discussion.
So, I mean, I'm not running from anything, homie. I just know how to be professional. I never said I was going to do it, and then he tagged the company in it. So if he lost the job, then that's just Darwinism right there. He actually showed that he was not evolved enough to be in this industry. Someone who was smart would have been like, bad word choice, let me pull this off. And notice I don't have a screenshot. Do you notice I'm not showing a screenshot? So I never screenshotted anything. That wasn't the point. The point was trying to point out to him how unprofessionally came out. Then it turned out when you look up who Joe Tolliver is, he supposedly runs something of a comic chat. So now, fill in your own blanks, but I've heard some things said about him that are unfavorable considering his stance in there, that are going to hurt his reputation. We have to all get to the point where if someone says that someone is saying racist comments, yes, we need proof. The problem was in that thread, proof was being given, and it was told to be yanked down right away. I don't know how to really address that. As an adult, I don't know how to address that other than people did not want that information out there. It's just that simple. You know, like, I mean, stop me if I'm wrong, Meredith. I mean, how do I handle that as a grown adult that you are telling people to stop putting up proof because it has people's phone numbers? And then, of course, it was, oh, fudge out the phone numbers. Then everyone's going to say you're faking it. And it already was that. Joe's already trying to say everything is fake. So,
I mean, if you're asking for proof and it's being provided to you, whether publicly or privately, how is that canceling anybody?
I don't know. But that's just.
I mean, I've heard this term several times in the past month. Show me the receipts.
Yeah. And canceling a person is going out of your effort. Telling someone that they're being really stupid in a social media age where people are literally getting in trouble for comments that they are getting and that you can screenshot and get people in trouble for. I've had a couple of my screenshots and they've been taken out of context and shown. No one provided the rest of it. And out of context, sometimes some of those screenshots can look damning, but none of them were as bad as you stop playing a victim. Really?
Yeah, but you know what, Rob?
Because here's my question. If he really had those racist comments, how awful, and I believe that to be true for the record, how awful is it that guy Joe said that? Honestly, like that's wow.
I would personally love to know the numbers and the names as well. Mm-hmm. And it's not because I would be any less professional, but I wouldn't be doing business with them. Not because I want to out them, but I have a notebook of names of people that I don't need in my life. I don't need to be inviting that kind of problems. Now, that's not to say that they are forever blacklisted or anything like that. I don't even like the word blacklisted. It's just like, okay, people can evolve. And if there's a sincere apology behind something, because we all make mistakes, and I do believe in second chances and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'd like to know who it is. I would like to see some receipts. And if maybe he was threatened for whatever reason, and I'm not talking from knowledge, I'm talking like situational. Like if that happened to me and I had the voicemails and the records and the phone numbers and stuff like that, and I put them up there and then somebody maybe threatened me, I would probably take it down because I'm like, okay, that maybe it becomes dangerous.
Now, I do want to say that Yoda has lost his ability to be taken serious by this program.
Yeah, and I don't know that we should address anything else that he has, unless he wants to come back.
Right now, he will not be addressed. Do you want to hide behind a fictional character to be a troll? We're not going to give you any more airtime. I addressed something. I'm not hiding from it. Anyone can come have a conversation with me. Someone can explain to me how your first response to someone is, oh, you're playing the victim, is a good thing in this day and age instead of stopping, shutting up, and listening. That's just someone who hasn't been listening in the last couple months and doesn't realize that your first reaction can't be to blame the victim. And that's what we do all the time. You know, show the receipts. Like everyone says, show proof. And that's what we really have gotten to the point where that should be it. And yes, Terrence started showing proof. Now that's always going to be a problem now. And now it's up to him to do whatever he wants. And the reason I am using his name now is solely because of the fact that there is a comment where his name is going to be brought up. But I'm going to take that last comment and then we're going to go on from that. Well, let me see. Okay, I'm going to give Mike Wheeler. He said, I would appreciate Terrence posting the voicemails along with phone numbers associated. He claims he has, so that people would be able to not associate with those people who harassed him. And here's the thing, Mike, he was putting up phone numbers with text messages at first. That was ripped down by someone else who was in the thread. And I'm not trying to out anyone about it. I'm just pointing out facts without outing a person. So it's not supposed to be our topic today, but I'm not going to not address it. The other poster no longer has a right to be in this room because they showed they couldn't be professional. I will take comments from people who are being professional. And I agree with you, Mike. I think we would all like to see it and hear it and see what's going on, because this is one of those things that divides us as a industry or a community, and we do need to get rid of people who are going to be this way. I completely agree with that. And Mike says, I didn't see that. Yeah, because it was ripped down pretty quickly. It was ripped down pretty quickly, and that is sad, you know. And Mike Wheeler says, I don't like the fact that people can say in this day and age, complete the purchase without posting the receipts. And you know what? That's look, I've had accusations thrown at me with unfounded, could not prove it, tried to twist things I said. I get the other side of it completely. I am enemy number one. I am the middle-aged white guy. I am the person who's always, it's my fault at this point, whenever you hear about a particular person right now being the problem in comics, it's always framed as the middle-aged white guy, which I happen to fall into. So there are many people who try to take, I mean, there was a weekend, I'll tell you, and Meredith knows this. One side, I'm standing up for being called a snowflake with the things I'm doing, being called, like, even a sellout, someone called me because of what I was standing up for. And on the other side, I'm being called a racist. Now, the reality of the situation is I'm not a racist. I'm not a big fan of humanity, to be honest with you, but I don't have a problem with any skin color, nor do I have a problem with a gender, or do I have a problem with anyone's sexual orientation. Those are just not realistic things. And no, I'm not a snowflake. I live in Florida. I would obviously melt if I were a snowflake. It's just impossible. But you get what I'm saying, Mike. You can be on both sides of it very quickly. And it sucks. It sucks so hard that is a problem with the reality of the situation and how people want this to be. Because all they want to do is take out something and be upset. Remember, this was, again, over a Facebook group. Like, when we're arguing about Facebook groups as adults, we have to take a time out. We have to walk over to the mirror and go, is it really this point in my life where I'm upset because I'm no longer part of a Facebook group? I get kicked out of Facebook groups all the time, and it's usually with a giggle. I had actually been kicked out of that group because I stood up and said, because there was a comment made, and I made sure that I had addressed it. I made sure I addressed it with the owner. I said, they said on a flat out post, if you are Comic Skate, or you know anyone, or friends with anyone who's Comic Skate, or support anyone who's Comic Skate, you're not allowed in this group. We're going to kick you out. So my ass put up a comment right away and said, you might as well kick me out because I'm not a fan of people drawing lines. I have no problem with people who are Comic Skate. Same as I have no problems with any other people just by what they do. Because, again, those are features. Those are features of a person. Some of them are a choice. Some of them are not. But in the end of the day, I don't care about all of that. I don't care if you say you're Comic Skate. I care how you act around me. I care how you treat my friends. I care how you conduct yourself. If you can be a professional and call yourself a Comic Skate, don't care. If you can be a professional, be an SJW, don't care. You could be a whisperer. I might have trouble hearing you because I'm getting older, but I still wouldn't have a problem with you. So I hope that addresses it. Obviously, you know, there's someone in here who wants to be popular because, you know, they see that we have a platform and they want to use our platform to become important. We're not going to give people that ability. Sorry, not sorry. And definitely leaning on the not sorry part, just for the record. So the next step is that we'll just start banning people from the chat when they're acting like children. And when someone goes, oh my God, you are gatekeeping, I'm going to be like, totally, I don't like assholes. My gates are up for assholes, so no assholes are allowed. Because I don't care. Call it whatever you want, but it's just civility. No one wants to be around abusive people. You all have to start realizing that. And I'm not saying that was the Facebook group issue. I got kicked out of the same group. So obviously I do think, and I do agree with the person who got kicked out, that there are overreaching mods. But again, it's a Facebook group. It's like no one died. And if you're trying to get kicked off of Facebook, which people have tried to do for me, then I understand that. That's something serious. But Facebook groups, that's people deciding who's allowed in a little space on Facebook. You know, I don't know if anyone knows this. I'm going to give you all a secret. Do not tell anyone that I told you this. Meredith, you ready for this?
I'm all ears.
Anyone can make a Facebook group. I swear. I looked it up. It was amazing. Anyone can make a Facebook group. So if you don't like how someone runs their Facebook group and you don't like their rules, make your own. Just that simple. I made comicbookadvocates.com because no one else was doing what I was doing. And to be honest with you, I thought I'd do it and someone would come along and do it better. IndieViL's has done a lot of things better than me. Radio programs, the interviews, bringing diversity. But no one has covered comics like I have as a website. I'm very, very proud of that fact. And Mike Wheeler says Facebook groups aren't real life. Right? Like, no one did anything to you. They just said you couldn't be in a Facebook group. A 2-hour program because someone said, I mean, seriously, and I had to watch it. It was part of my job requirement. Someone made me sit there and watch it. It was, I wish I could have that life back. Although we had fun watching it because you just watch it and it's like a car crash. You want to look away. You do. Because in that video, no one looked good. It was a horrible video. There just was a mess of it. Comments were being made. People were talking over each other. There wasn't a civil conversation at moments. Not that it got too bad ever. I want to give them all credit. None of them were nasty till the after show. Whoa. That live after show, like when you shut the mics down, that's what I would expect them to be saying, which then makes it even more terrifying. What did they say when they weren't recorded? You know what I mean? But that's a whole other one. I won't even address that one. But are we done? I think we're done. Let's move on. That's what we're going to do here. And we're going to go back up and talk to some people who know how to be
civil.
I was going to say a pair. Because, you know, yeah, you guys are all like, what the hell is he going on about this pair, right? You're all like, this guy's freaking nuts. This is true. I cannot deny the nut. Well, the doctor put it, I'm not a danger to society just yet. So I don't think they've officially stamped the insane thing in. But I do have a message from a pair.
Be a pair. Be professional. Be ethical. Be authentic. Be respectful. Remember, in this industry for comics, be a pair. Art provided by Chris Mad. Look up Chris Mad Art on Facebook today.
But yeah, that video, I know everyone involved in that video doesn't even like being mentioned about that video. So can we get past it? It's time to just move on. Threads were deleted. It's all childish. I think we're done talking about this topic tonight. And that's the good thing about this being my show. I get to make that call. So thank you. We're moving on. Ralph says our current social media platform leans heavily into communities. You can find like-minded nerds for about for everything and anything. The thing though here is it's not really communities. They're trying to separate us into smaller groups so we don't disagree with each other because they don't want to. And to Facebook's credit, who wants to sit around and be a goalkeeper for people on social media who can't get along? So imagine that's your job. Like Sue doesn't like Brandon because Brandon did X. So now I have to talk to Sue, and Sue's going to spend a half an hour telling me about the Y situation. And then Brandon's going to, oh my God, a week. You're just like, You're blocked for 30 days. You're blocked for 30 days. 1 week into the job, you're like Oprah. You get a block. You get a block. You get a block. You start blocking. You going into their profiles and blocking them in the behind the scenes so they can't see each other anymore. They'll never know. Anything to stop the fighting. And look, I used to be one of those people who got into too much social media drama. And I realized I was spending time away from my child to argue with people that I'd never changed their minds. And that's okay. I don't care. There's someone calling me names in my chat. Look, nope, I'm still alive. It didn't end me. I didn't die. My feelings under the bed. Hold on, I'll check. They're still there and fine. I just checked. The feelings are okay. Doesn't matter if someone calls you names. I went to high school. I survived. I'm still here. Name away, buddy. Name away. It doesn't matter. But it is telling that we have to be separated into groups now so we can behave.
You know what, Rob? My attitude is a lot of times it's like, it's not my monkey, it's not my circus, and it's very easy to click away.
Or block. Just block people. Yeah, people all the time, like, you're gatekeeping on your profile. You delete comments.
You know what? I don't like to block people, again, because I like to give that opportunity for redemption. Whatever that means in my mind, and I know that's very subjective, and I could be called out for that, but, I really don't block a lot of people.
I don't think you're wrong.
Because there is, because there are opportunities to start a dialogue again and just say, once the dust settles, and just say, okay, why? Ask the questions.
Usually what I do with my blocks is I go back every 6 months, like literally, like clockwork. Every 6 months I check it, usually in June and usually in December. And if I can't remember why I blocked a person, I'll unblock them. I'll unblock them. Social media has made too many of you comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the mouth. That is true, man. When I first got on social media and this all started up, there was opportunities where it was like, I saw people off of social media. I'm not going to lie, in the fetish community, there were more than a few people who, when they realized who was in the room, turned like Casper the Ghost, wider than you can expect, walked their ass right out the door. Because when you run your mouth on social media and you see this angry Irishman in the room, you're like, damn, that kind of ugly? I don't want him being mad at me. Like, what if the ugly gets on me? That's right. And they don't know where I've been. My blood could be toxic as hell. So we're going to move on. Ralph Craven says, no doubt there is a business aspect to some communities. Yes, absolutely. And Ralph, great contributor, by the way. We love him on the program. Once you introduce profit into these communities, it can be a bit more sticky. Isn't that the truth? When any of you put money in, we've seen it. Money or ego are the two biggest reasons things fail, including marriage. Those are the two biggest reasons, because everyone wants to be, I guess, liked. For the record, I don't care if people like me. I just care that when people talk about me, they tell the story correctly and they use my words. I hate when people say things I didn't say or tell the story poorly, because I'm a writer. I'm a good storyteller. Like, tell it the right way. I don't care if you make me the bad asshole, but at least quote me. Use words. Damn. Ralph says, there is nothing in that definition. Do you see money? No, there is no money. So that's true. That's true. A community set up for a nonprofit is usually quite different than one set up for profit. I agree. Joe D. McPhee says, is it okay to join? Yes. Come on in. Anyone's welcome. I
sent him a link.
Yeah, I don't ever stop people from coming in to express how they feel. I just ask that you be a professional. And if you can't be a professional, I ask that you see the door, and I usually help you very quickly to it. Joe's not going to be a problem like that. Some other people could be. And, we have every week we have someone coming in here and just bleeding their feelings. It's like the period of feelings. It's all over the place. We have to send a monkey in at the end, a whole group of chimps to clean out the chat room from all the feelings that people have stepped in over this program. It's horrible, Meredith. And the monkeys want to raise. All right, here comes Joe now.
Yeah.
What's going on, Joe?
Yep.
Hi,
Hey,
Joe.
how's it going?
What's going on, dude?
Oh, I'm just sitting back and I just can't believe what I just saw. I'm like, wow.
But it's like I said, it's the period of feelings. Someone needs to like express themselves. No, you're a bad person. You know, that's why I'm telling you, we have these little chimps who come out at the end. They're the same chimps who give you the mail. You know how you have chipmunks? Those same monkeys we hired to clean our chat room at the end of these from all the feelings. Like, man. So what's going on, Joe? Tell them who you are. Tell them why you came on tonight.
Okay. My name is Joe D. McPhee. I am the president of Exigency Steels. I am the creator of Amazonia, AWF, and Primetime Saturday Night. I'm coming on because the original topic is that this is both an industry as well as a community, depending on which aspect that you look at. Because again, one of the major problems with this industry as a whole is that, for me, sometimes fandom gets into this whole community aspect of feelings where they just don't know, they don't understand the business side of it, and they just don't care. And it makes it hard for those who are actually trying to make a profit, trying to build something that is lasting, to do that because they want certain things a certain way. And I see that more so even with the creative aspect, because when you have certain creators group themselves together and they bounce things off of one another and form a particular community for a type of genre or a type of style or something that is, that they can agree upon. That yet when you look at the business aspect of it, it doesn't necessarily fit a profitable business plan as a whole here. So in some aspects, you have to have it's community, and in the other aspect, it's 100% industry, and you have to deal with the business aspect of it. I mean, think about it. You can't just create every last idea that you have. You have to always produce your best idea that will encompass most of that demographic or whatever your target market is. I mean, that's what I was looking at when you first started. And then we got to the other conversation. I was like, oh, no, that's a rabbit hole. Let's segue away from it.
Do you know the song Boogeyman? It was in the 70s and White Zombie or Rob Zombie redid it. Every time those comments come up, my mind instantly goes to Rob Zombie. It's like, I'm no Boogeyman. My son needs me, Meredith. You're in charge for a minute. Whoa.
Okay.
Oh.
That was some decibels.
There it is.
Yeah, you know what, Joe? This has been kind of an ongoing conversation that I've had with several people, especially when I do interviews with people in the comic book industry. And the question is always, is this a hobby for you, or is this something that you want to do for a living? And the people who are taking it seriously, the people who want to make a living making comic books and following that dream, I think the hobbyists probably see it as fun and, again, a hobby. And maybe they don't do the research to see what they need to do to make it a successful business. I don't know if you've got anything to say about that, but, like the hobbyists not against the hobbyists. It's not really against each other necessarily, but I think there's that mindset of how much weight they give to it.
Well, no, you're absolutely right.
No, it's a very fair question, but I also put this one question back to them. Mm-hmm. If you're not willing to put your own money behind it to produce it,
well, no,
then what's the purpose? What's the purpose?
Hold on, real quick. I don't think she means it that way. I think what you're saying, and stop me if I'm wrong, Meredith, because I do want to answer it. I want to make sure I'm answering it right. You're saying that because these people are not making this a career path, this is not their job, that they have the ability to run around and say things that they don't have to be worried about. Because who do I care? I don't have to go to a Comic-Con this weekend because I'm going to go work at the hotel. I'm going to go work at the McDonald's. I'm going to go work at the Home Depot. I got to work this job. It doesn't matter. This is just fun to me. Oh, my God, this is my comic here. If someone buys it, no big deal. I don't really care. I'm just going to do whatever I want. And then there are people who are going to be in this industry 10, 20, 30 years. and we're trying to navigate what is one of the most tumultuous times in recent memory. Not the worst, because I know Randy'd come in here and kick my ass if I said it was the worst. There have been other periods that have been worse than it is now. But in recent memory, this is one of the hardest parts because people are just dying to separate us. And it's, you know, I was very professional with someone. I told them what they were doing wrong, and I told them why this was not appreciative behavior. And there was a moment they could have turned around and been like, I didn't think of it that way. You know what? You're right. Can we have evidence? Like, let's see if this guy is right. And now I got to ask you, Joe, and, you know, someone makes a racist comment and then you know they did, and someone tells you to stop playing a victim. How does that make you feel?
Oh, that would just make me angry. And first thing I would do is like, okay, defend this. The first thing I would show him the comment, defend what he's saying. Tell me what he's really saying.
And then you have people, no, don't out my friend. I mean, don't put numbers out. It's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean my friend. I don't know that person. Why would you say friend? I didn't know. No, not me. You know, and it's like,
people don't realize Facebook is public record. It doesn't matter. Or, you know, anything that is considered public record, you know, if that number is in the phone book, it's public record. You're not hurting anybody. It's not illegal.
Hold on, you called someone and made a racist comment, and we're going to stop and worry about your legal rights? Like,
right.
Go to a judge. Excuse me, Your Honor, but I should be allowed to send hate through anything I want and not be held accountable. That's not what freedom of speech is, you idiots. Freedom of speech means you can say something, and it also means I can judge you for it, for being stupid enough to believe it, and even stupider to say it out loud. But I thank them all the time. When someone says something racist, I thank them because now I know I can't be around them. You know, and you have your friends who say dumb shit and you can educate them. Like we do all have some friends who say dumb shit. Dude, you can't say that. No, dude, I know you're mad. Listen, girl, calm down, girl. You know, you can say that. And by the way, I didn't mean that towards a girl. I said that to my male friends when they're getting too excited. So when you're saying to calm down and all that, it's trying to get it done. But I mean, like to Meredith's point, if you're going to come in here and act like an amateur and then get upset for being called out like an amateur, you're just proving the point. You are an amateur and no one should take you serious. And that's how I dealt with that person. I was like, you just officially became not worth my time. And that's it. Like, you can take the power away from all these people by not giving them a voice. And they'll be like, you're gatekeeping me. No, let me explain this right now. You're in my house. Right now, this is the devil's advocate. This is my house. If you think I'm going to let someone walk through my front door and disrespect me, you're fucking nuts. That will not happen in my house. And I don't, you know, I'm not going to apologize. Oh, you didn't read all the comments. I had the door open. He could stop, or she could stop hiding behind a stupid name to try to be a troll and say whatever they want. And I can tell them to their face, no problem. This New York native has no problem having a conversation anytime. That's why we have an open link in here. So when you see people like bleeding feelings all over, oh, damn, there's more. Hold on. More feelings got in our chat room. When that happens, understand that that's going on. So anything else to add? Because I do want to get past this. I'm done.
Well, I want to try to answer Meredith's question since you put a better perspective here. Because I was thinking more of the business side, but not the, oh, well, if I'm not really doing it for profit type aspect of it. I'm quite the opposite. I do have a 9-to-5, but I want to transition to do comics full time. And my 9-to-5 job has nothing to do with art. It deals with computers. I'm a computer technician, 9-to-5, and I come home and I do all the art, the 3D work, all the other stuff as a whole here. But is there a big distinction between those that are hobbyists and those that are really striving to do this professionally? Yes, there's a big difference. But I also believe that with this whole argument about industry versus community, the hobbyists have their community. I mean, think about it. Most of DeviantArt is built up of people who do this as a hobby as well as people who do it professionally.
Yeah. No. But DeviantArt, I found a lot of artists on, actually. They're very serious. And I do want to, if you're done, I don't want to step on your feet.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I want to get back to viewer comments. And we love all you guys for chiming in today and showing up. And Joe, thank you for being on, Merit, too. But I do want to say this again. When you come here and you want to act like a big shot in the chat room, when there's a link I don't want to call you a chicken shit because that'd be rude. I'm finding it hard to find something else to call you right now, though, because chicken shit, I mean, sometimes these words, they just land on purpose for what we want, because you could have come in. You could have had a real conversation. You're not serious. You just want to stir a pot because you think that you'll somehow win some SJW award. And again, you've just lost your SJW. Right, Joe? You can't have an SJW card if you're defending racism. It gets taken away. Hey, right there. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
People don't understand my aspect of why I don't like those 3 letters, because those who argue against it don't realize they're a group within themselves that is considered social justice warriors. Are you arguing for the standardization of what has already been there? That's a group within itself. It's an SJW group itself, by definition. Just because you don't like what everything else is going on does not necessarily make your group any different as a whole. So you just hating yourself. You call everybody else SJW social justice warriors, but yet you're doing the whole social justice warrior thing yourself about, I like the old ways. I'm gatekeeping. I like the old ways. That's the same thing. Why is this group over here evil, but your group is not? Doesn't matter.
It's just about trying to twist people's words. It's trying to, I make a joke about, the chimps cleaning up the room, and then someone will go off and be like, oh my God, you know who he was talking about, right? You know what he meant. I literally mean chimps. Like, I don't know if you know what a chimp is. They're an animal. They're very cute. They're adorable, but you shouldn't fuck with them. They're very nasty. That's why I respect chimps, actually. They'll fuck you up. I don't know how Michael Jackson did something to his chimp, because that chimp would not have witnessed all that and not done something. That chimp was drunk. Sorry. Wow. Did I go off on a topic there? That poor chimp. And he's still alive. He is so...
No, that's just somebody got your goat. Somebody got your goat and you just went there.
That monkey's in a corner, chimpanzee's in a corner just rocking right now after all he's seen at the mansion. No, don't make me go back. That poor little dude. They should just put him down. After what he's seen, it would have been the honest, purest way to handle that. Sorry, monkey, we don't want you to remember anything.
Randy, save us.
All right, so now we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. I hope we're here come the Facebook comments. So hopefully we'll get to move on. Facebook groups aren't real life. That's true. You're here now, so I don't have to read your comments, actually. So we have Mike Wheeler says, I've been saying for months, it's a way to limit discussions in order to create a more compliant user base, more
susceptible.
You're using words that are hard for a dyslexic, Mike. Why are you out to get me? But no, he's not right. I mean, he's not wrong. He is right. He's not wrong. Look, man, if you're making a group because you thought someone else hadn't made the group the way you wanted it to. It's that simple. I think this group should be this way. These are my rules. I have rules in my group. Like if I find out that you're out there and you say, you're playing a victim, and I see that, I'll mute you from my group. I won't kick you out. I'll mute you. I'll let you come to me, and I'll be like, explain telling someone not to play a victim. Because the first thing I do is I stop and I want to, like everyone else, I want to see the receipts. I want to see what happened. I want to know that no one's lying, because we don't want any more division. We don't. We all want to get together. And I'm going to go back to my...
Well, I was going to say, really quickly to that, that's what journalism is, or what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Is you look at the facts and you report the truth.
Yep. And that's why when people say, oh, Rob's an asshole, I can't disagree. There's enough evidence out there to prove I am indefinitely an asshole at times. I get a little too passionate. I talk about Michael Jackson's chimp, and it just comes out. There's someone inside me going, stop the words from falling out of the mouth. But there they go. They're just tumbling out the door. But I do want to read this because this has been something I really want people to understand. It's something I found out Tupac said this. The first exposure I thought Jim Carrey did, but it turns out it was Tupac. Just because you lost me as a friend doesn't mean you gained me as an enemy. I'm bigger than that. I still want you to eat, just not at my table. And that's kind of how I feel. And that's why I think this isn't a community. A lot of people out there, I don't want to call them bad people. I want to call them people making bad choices. How's that sound? Like, you know, there are people out there who do things that you see and you're like, ugh. And I don't mind when my friends call me out. Look, there was an issue where I took out, not took out, but I took on, I should say, a person who wasn't delivering on Kickstarters. And I had a lot of proof. Like, there was no doubt, as a comic book journalist, I had every right to do what I did. Problem is, I let it become personal. And I started to make it almost vendetta feeling. Like, it no longer felt I was just reporting the story. I was trying to go with the person. I crossed lines with it. And looking back on it, I can tell you that I am partly ashamed of how I handled that. But I can also tell you that I've learned from that incident. And I know that I'll never allow myself to have those incidents again, because I do look back on it poorly. And in this community, in this industry, we have to remember it's through our experiences we learn and we grow. So that's why I said to Meredith, I don't think she's wrong not to always block people. We do have the option now to mute someone. We have the option to stop them from coming across. Like, look, I just didn't read comments. Like, I saw them piling up. Nope, not reading yours. Saw your name. You suck. You suck. You suck. Oh, look, someone else. And I read their comment. That's how easy it is in life. And it's not that I hate the person. I don't even know the person. It's that I don't want negative in my life. I want to live a life that is more about comics. And so, you know what I want? And I'm going to play it again. I want this. Just watch this. And if your heart doesn't melt, you don't have a heart.
Comics are awesome.
Every time I'm like, oh my God. And he's looking into my soul and saying, Rob, I get you, bro. I get you. You're right. Like,
You've got a little bit of a man crush going on there.
I wouldn't call it little, honey. That's a big man crush. But I mean, look, that energy that
if
he
would have just said it in the Ted voice, he would have just been, you just see tears just falling down.
Right? You know,
You're right.
I mean, not for nothing, he does play me in television. You know, Mr. Anderson. So he has played me on television and movies. So I mean, you know, we have a relationship.
You believe that, Rob? You go ahead. We'll let you do that.
My story, and I'm sticking. Everyone comes up to me and goes, "Mr. Anderson, it must be true."
It's like the Matrix is 100% about you in the future. You survived that long.
Oh shit! Really?
You survived that long to be considered part of a collective of batteries that finally escaped. So you enjoyed this life right now, then all of a sudden somehow you got compartmentalized and captured, and then you escape, become more powerful than you are now.
So I was a manager when the movie came out, and everyone was the Mr. Anderson thing. So slowly, every one of them began to ask me, "Well, if this was the Matrix and you knew, would you release me?" And some of them, I was like, "Yeah, I'd let you come on my side. We'd go raise some hell, kill some robots." A few employees that I was like, "No." I was like, "But I'll tell you what, I would kill you. I would kill you for the wrong person to have you. I would set you free that way." They're like, "Why wouldn't you just have me come with you?" Shit, if I could get rid of you and really not be quote unquote murder, you.
Don't encourage him, all right? Jeez.
It's not my fault that you didn't survive the extraction plan. I didn't know. They didn't give me a manual. There's a couple that survived, right? I don't know.
But he's the chosen one. That's the thing. He's the chosen one. So he
Trinity.
best.
Trinity. She decided to survive. That's a choice. You want to die? That's your choice. I'm all for that compassionate kill. I'll put the bullet in your head. You choose. Am I going to die from this or not? Meredith is like, of all the shows I came on, this is the worst one, Rob. It's the burning fire. It's like, Rob, you can say whatever you want. They're not recording you. No one can do a screenshot of this. Next week, you're just going to see me. Look at him talking about monkeys. We all know what that man was talking about. Meanwhile, I'm seeing little chimps with their tails sweeping comments away in my head because I'm a child. I actually think in comic book. I'm like constantly thinking of comics. I see the panels where the monkeys are flying into different panels, sweeping up. Like one of the monkeys is holding the words like this. Ew, I'm throwing it off. This is feelings. This is a lot of feeling. Oh, I got it on my hands now. The monkeys.
He's talking about it like it's Fantasia. Like, yeah.
He creates comics. See, you have to create comics. Like the comic book creators were like, shit, I can make a comic out of that. Next month, there's going to be the monkey feeling cleaners. And, for $9.99 a month, the monkeys will come to your threads and get rid of all those nasty feelings from people. Yes. I'd order 2 teams a month. Got a lot of feelings in our comments today. One thing I don't like about Streamline is you can't directly just delete them, because there's nothing better than someone trying to be mad at you and you deleting their comment. And then 5 minutes later, they're like, how dare you delete my comment? And you delete it. You don't even read the whole thing. They're like, if you do that, delete it. And I can go for hours. Every time they comment, I'm just smiling. You know, see, when people try that with me, I'd be like, hold on, wait. I want to say sorry. And you know, they're reading it now, and I'm like, sorry, you're an ass. Oh, I'm sorry, I left my underwear at your house. Can you tell your wife to mail it to me?
The horns are out. The horns are out.
They done stirred me up. They done stirred me up, Meredith.
In Dragon Ball terms, it's over 9,000. Power level over 9,000.
It made me mad. They're picking on my monkeys that are cleaning feelings up. Don't you ever make monkeys a bad thing. I love the. Do you know there's an island? I'm not kidding, and you guys can actually look this up. There is an island of I don't know. I don't think they're chimpanzees, but they're little monkeys, and all they do is have sex and masturbate.
Bonobo monkeys.
He knows it. He gets it. They actually masturbate in their sleep. I was like, I couldn't watch it. You know, like sometimes you're like, oh, that's so graphic. Not me. I was like, oh, like he's asleep and he's actually getting someone from behind, and behind him he's jerking someone off, and he's asleep. I'm really surprised Meredith hasn't been in here yet. Rob, can you play that? Your views are not those to be described. True.
That has crossed my mind.
He did it once at the very beginning, so he's covered, I think.
He is covered. Yes, he is.
I played 2 different versions. I kind of had a feeling how tonight's show was going to go. But again, the chat's in there. And again, this is probably of all. And for those who are wondering, the reason I make the placards the way that I do, and I can't believe I'm going to have to stop and explain this. This just explains 2020 to everybody. When I put you poor fool, it's not a community, it's a cutthroat industry. It's made to sound like a comic headline. It's not always what we believe. It's to start the conversation, to invite people to be part of the conversation. You know, I know right now there's like 5 people on a watch party going, what's Rob going to say next that we can just cut up and accuse him of meaning something else? And thank you for joining us. We appreciate the view. Make sure to subscribe to INDEEViL so you can always capture the crazy shit that comes out of my mouth. Lord knows I don't catch it before it gets out, so good luck with you. So, Meredith, have you at all on tonight changed your mind a little bit about the industry? We're halfway through our time. We could actually cut it off right now. I feel like we've done enough damage to everybody.
I think we had a really good discussion, and I want to thank Joe for jumping in and putting out his opinions and thoughts about it. But my opinion really hasn't changed. Again, as somebody who's new coming into the field, I've stepped into the field. Therefore, I am in the comics industry, in this community. That's how I see it. I see it very broadly. Where I go from there is my path. And I hope it's a good one, because I really do want to. I don't see this at all, and I never did. I never saw this as a hobby. I see this as a way to make a living and really put content out there. That's all I want to do. I want to create content.
Joe?
In the bigger scheme of things, I will always know that it would always be both, only because of the simple fact that you have smaller groups that you always going to, be a part of. regardless of the business aspect. Once you get into that business aspect, it's 100% industry. There's no other way around it. But until you get to that point to actually start production, and when you produce something and you're ready to give it out to the rest of the world, you have to make that transition over to industry. You can't do it any other way but that.
All right, I'm going to let someone speak for me on this matter, and this is exactly why I make comics.
Comics are awesome.
I swear, if he would have said as Theodore, what was his name? Theodore Preston, he would have tears. You would just see him not stopping, tearing up.
Just wait for this one. Wait, just watch this.
Well, I used to collect, and I love comic books. And they were like, so, did you ever want to make a comic book? And I was like, yeah.
Look at that excitement. Like, you see it being born. He's like, wait.
And that was his character for Speed that he delivered that in. I can't remember his character name in Speed, but that's the way that he said it.
He could see he's remembering it. He's like, yeah, like, hell yeah. Like, I want to. That's like, the girl you had a crush on, guy you had a crush on, whatever you've had a crush on, finally says yes to you. And they go, would you like to be with me? And you, yeah. Yeah, I would.
See, and whenever I see that, I'm waiting for the hell yeah. But I mean, he says yeah, and it's just, you see that excitement. It's like a child's excitement at Christmas.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you, Meredith? He's a gentleman. He would never say hell. Actually, think about it. Have you ever seen him curse in a movie? Really? Think about it.
No.
I would have to think about that.
And I give the gauntlet challenge to all listeners on INDEE.
Wow.
Not that I could think of it. I'm even thinking about Matrix, and even in Matrix, he really hasn't said anything that's like now considered quote unquote dirty.
Find me a cursing Keanu Reeves.
Wow.
Now everyone's mind's blown. We're gonna take a quick break.
It is.
To hear why this year has sucked and what's going on, and we're going to go to someone way smarter than me.
Be all about connection. I miss connections with fans on every level. This campaign is really designed to allow us to reconnect with our fans at a time when real life circumstances are just driving us all apart.
Right? Isn't that so true, though? Like, these people are going crazy a little bit because we're not getting to be on the shows. We're not seeing each other anymore. I think when you run into your crazy SJW friend, but then he sits down and he tells you why he thinks the way he does or she does, you're kind of like, okay, I can get that. I can respect it. But when you're online, all you see is this font. And this font, as I'm getting smacked around by a little kid, I'm telling you, domestic abuse, send help. When you're just seeing font, it's really easy to fire back without thought. But when, like, a lot of times when I'm getting angry at someone, I'll let you in on a little hint. When I get real mad at someone, I go to their profile. And I try to remind myself that they're being a human being. I try to look at what they're doing. Now, if you go to some of their profiles and they're just saying nasty things, it backfires. Because now the little devil on your shoulder goes, see, he's a motherfucking asshole. Go get him. Get him, little bitch. He deserves it. No one is taking this fucker down. Knock him a few pegs down. Remember, no one's over 6 feet tall when you knock them on their ass. They're But, I mean, and it is true. We just got to learn to be better with each other. I mean, and I'm going to go back to the Black Panther quote, and then I'm going to go, beat my child, which is my right in Florida.
Yeah.
It's like a game show. Beat your child. This weekend, we have Jax. Real quick, and then I'm going to give it back to Meredith for a few minutes. And watch tomorrow. Rob beats this child. He did it live on television. Oh, my God. Say it. In times of crisis, the wise build bridges while the foolish build barriers. We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe. And right now, more than ever, we need to stop finding ways to really just be nasty to each other. When someone says you're doing something wrong, thank them for taking the time and showing it to you and acknowledge it. And maybe even think, hey, how much of what he's saying is right? Like, I'm mad right now. Am I going to still feel this way after I'm not mad in a week? Because sometimes we're spend too much time reacting instead of thinking about what we're doing.
Absolutely. You know what? I want to piggyback off of that because, you know, I've been a community moderator online platforms since the late 90s. And the biggest piece of advice, the best piece of advice that I ever had was when somebody's setting fires, you know, you're not the fireman on the internet. Sit on your hands for like a day. If it's a couple of hours to cool down, if it's 24 hours, you know, and even in the news these days, you know, wait for that 24-hour cycle to see what's changed before you have that knee-jerk reaction. It's the same thing with a lot of these groups. You have to let the dust settle, and then you can kind of weed through that and find where the real story is, you know. But I implore everybody to do your own damn research. You know, just because a friend of a friend of a friend said something and they got their feelings hurt doesn't mean that by osmosis or default that your feelings are hurt. Go to the source, look it up, do your own research, and use the brain that's in your head.
And remember, you're talking to human beings. Seriously. Yeah. We're all someone's son, daughter, husband, wife, child, you know, that's someone we care about. And I always remind people, like, just think about talking about human being someone loves. And I really do try. And, you know, I make a little bit of sarcastic jokes, but I never take it over a line because, you know, I've trained myself deliberately to see people. And that's why I feel bad about the way I went after that one guy. Did he deserve it? Yes, absolutely. Everyone thought that I was right for what I did. But when I look back on it, I'm not proud of it because there was a way I could have handled it that would have been a lot more professional and it could have come off a lot better. And I've had people like, oh, he's back. What are you going to do? And I'll say it right now. What he's doing right now is the right thing. Why am I going to hurt someone when they're trying to turn over a new leaf, while they're trying to work hard to be something that isn't destructive, but is actually supportive to a community or to that, you know, and that's important. Like, if you're doing something right, I'll applaud him. I won't be his friend. I won't promote him until he gets everything caught up. There's one book that he's very behind on. But if he gets that book out and comes up and goes, you know what? Everything's put out. Would you mind promoting this? I would go back to promoting it.
Yeah. That's what professionals do.
Yep. We all change over a lifetime.
And you know what? I have to say, Rob, that's one of the things that I actually admire is because about you is because you can actually go back and reflect and say, you know what? I pointed it out, which was the right thing to do. When I didn't let go of it and I turned it personal, that was when it went sideways. And you've admitted that several times. And that is, you know, that's admirable behavior. And I have to applaud you for that because a lot of people won't do that. And they're, you know, and again, that professionalism of saying, you know, when this person comes back, when everything's settled and you've done the right thing, and I see, you know, and we see, again, not from opinion, but their actions on making things right and doing right by their customers and their fans, you know, to say, yes, absolutely, my door is open. I will promote your next work. But but they're going to know that we've got an eye on them, you know, and that will be the incentive to do the right thing. That's really what it's about. Do the right thing, create your works, do the best you can, collaborate with the people who are going to get you to the next step, and promote each other. You know? I mean, why are we tearing each other down? I don't understand that.
What I don't understand is when you're a child, you're considered to be growing until you get to like college. Every year you're growing. Why do we stop assuming that we continue to grow past college? I'm not the same person I was a year ago. And if I ever go to a brand new year and I'm the same person, I have failed completely at living because I did not evolve. I did not learn more. There are things that I change my opinion on. I love when people give me new points of view because it educates me in a different manner. It doesn't mean if I agree with you. It's why we do a lot of these things, is because sometimes people have changed my mind, completely blown my mind by, wow, I never thought of it that way, because We do. We get into our own heads, and that's why having friends is so important. We forget that on social media. You know, whether we're talking about Comicsgate, oh, they're a hate group. Why are they a hate group? Well, I heard from this guy who told me that this guy said that he saw this in the back room of a dark alley, and you're like, okay. Do you have anything where you could show? Like, well, I have a friend who says he's Comicsgate. He's a cool dude. I have this girl. She's not someone that you were saying would be Comicsgate, and she is Comicsgate. You know, like, I don't understand what you're saying doesn't match up, but we don't allow that conversation to happen. What it is it's you're Comicsgate, so you're bad. You're SJW, so you're a snowflake, and I can't be friends with you. I'll be friends with any of you. Seriously, I don't care. I want to hear from you. I just ask that you be respectful. How hard is that? I don't ever, and one of my friends had brought this up to in a point, and he was like, you know, he's like, when I defend you, the one thing I say about you is name one time Rob started a fight. He's like, no one's ever been able to come back and said Rob started that. He said you respond to it. I don't agree with your measured responses sometimes. He flat out told me, and he had a conversation with me about the same topic we're talking about tonight. He had seen the more positive thing in me walking away from a lot of the drama because I just don't want to be part of it and just standing in the middle, and he was proud of that. He's like, I like how you're doing it because you're not making it personal. You can see you're having fun with it, and you're just being comfortable. He's like, I miss that side of you. He's like, you let that stuff get so personal, you could see the anger in your eyes. We forget that. I didn't know that at that minute. And if my friend had told me at that minute, I probably would have been like, dude, you'd feel angry too if you had all these idiots doing all this. And there would have been all that emotion. I would have needed my chimps to come clean up my messenger for what I would be telling my friend because my feelings weren't under the bed. They'd be coming out of my mouth. Because
that's what I was waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting for that comment. It's like, yep, there it is. There's your monkeys again.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let that go. I'll be around for life now. I'm gonna make a little stand of monkeys cleaning the chat room of curses. Like, oh no more. You can't say that. Nope, sorry. But no, we want to be able to get along with each other. You know, I do remember before Trump, and I'm not saying it's Trump's fault. Don't frame it anyway. The reality is when Trump got elected, something changed in our industry. And it has put up too many barriers between people. I always said it. I think the best comic book could be made by a Comicsgate SJW team, forcing those two extreme sides to come to one center place and create something. I think it could be beautiful. I think it could be wonderful. And that's why I don't discredit the fact that some of this is community within it, but I also think it's an industry that we have to listen to the fans. And that's my biggest argument now that we're in hour 22. The reason I think that it's an industry is it's because it's the fans' choices. We have to admit that our fans, I have a book called, and they call us monsters. I love that book. It does not sell well. If I want to be a hobbyist, I'll continue to put it on my table and push that book. If I want to actually have a career and be taken seriously, I have to understand that that book is a unique taste. I can have it on my table. I can give it part of the pitch when I go, I create fetish monsters and more. If someone says, well, what did you do with monsters? I have a pitch for that. But realistically, I have to focus on what I know sells. Barber sells well. The Advocator has sold well. The Cat Dad and Supermom, which will have a second issue this year. All those things sold well, but that's why it's an industry, because those are the things that dictate it. If it were a community, all I need is my friends saying, it's good, keep doing it. But because we want to get paid to do it, because for some reason, I don't know why, Joe, why don't artists work for free? I'm going to do a whole special on that. What?
Why don't artists work for free? Because we got bills too. We have bills too.
But you have exposure. I can give you exposure. I can expose all things about you. I mean, I'll give you exposure on Tuesday, Wednesday. Why is exposure not good enough, Joe? Why are you artists different?
Because the electric company does not take exposure as an acceptable form of currency.
I wrote that to my electric bill one time. I was like, I got a lot of likes at a show. Can you discount me? I don't think they thought it was funny. I don't think they thought it was funny because the next month I got a late fee. I was like, wow. Wow. So much for using my likes as currency. But it's true. I mean, ultimately, we want everyone to succeed. I see someone out there that I don't particularly like as Rob, a human being, doesn't like this person. I don't necessarily want to share their things because their politics, they say things that I think are awful and I don't want to be associated with it. But I'll never tell anyone not to back it. If someone said, "Oh, that looks good. What do you think, Rob?" I'd be like, "What are you talking about?" I'll look at it real quick. I'm like, "Yeah, that does look good. If you're into it, man, you should back that." I'd never back the book, but I'm not going to kneecap someone. It's like Tupac said, man. Why is everyone trying to take food off of everyone's table? Why is everyone trying to tell everyone how to live, man? Like, serious. Just be you. Stop trying so hard to hurt other people. You're not going to get ahead. I've never deliberately tried to hurt someone. I know, incidentally, I have. I have a devilish tongue. I say things very quickly, and I'm very sarcastic. I don't always mean it. I don't understand you humans. I'm still studying. And one day I'm going to crack the code of the human feelings. I haven't gotten there. Just ask my ex-wife. She'll totally explain to you that I have no idea about feelings. Trust me. She'll go on for a while about it. Jay Gaza said, "I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger day." That's how
the wimpy saying.
Yep. And I do feel like, because sometimes people will be like, "Well, how come your comics are so expensive while they're drinking a Starbucks?" And I just want to like die in that moment. God, I've lived long enough. This is the moment you can kill me, because I don't want to explain why my comic that took over 30 hours at least, between conversations, writing scripts, going back and forth, editing it, getting an artist to do all this work, promoting it, is worth fucking money. And then even worse, this breaks my heart, when someone has a $10 fan poster of something and they're like, "Look, Captain America." Oh, your comic's $7 for 32 pages? Well, one page. You paid $20 for that one page. No, but you have to understand, I can hang this in my wall. I was like, "You can hang my comic on the wall. I don't care. We'll do whatever you want with it once you buy it." Oh, well, you have to know that this is something I'm going to be proud of. Why? It's a Kinko's copy. That artist paid 50 cents for it. That's a Kinko's copy. They paid 50 cents for something you're going to hang on your wall. You're going to spend more on tape hanging it than they did printing it.
You are not lying. You are not lying one bit. You make me think about the 18 by 24s that I used to print at about $1 a pop, and we sell them for like $30 a piece. You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
Varian's in the background right now figuring out what we got next week on Saturday night. We're going to be replacing Rob very quickly. No, but I mean, it's true. This has to be so. And ultimately, it has to be something more than industry. It has to be more than just a community. It has to be about passion. It has to be about people getting out of each other's way and giving each other room. If you want to make racist comments, you're the person we don't have room for. We don't want that. No one wants racism. Racism breaks my heart. I don't care what racism it is. There's no acceptable racism. And there's that golden rule. If you can say something and change whatever the adjective, whatever, I didn't do phonics, the thing that makes the thing go. So if you say that X person is this, and you can replace the X with anything else, and someone says it's racist, then all of it is racist in the spin wheel. And I think we need to get back to that. I think we need to totally just get to a point where we're human again, and we look at each other and we see each other and we understand each other. I mean, we have kids. Look at this kid. This kid's got to grow up in this world. And I want this world to be great for him. I want him to be able to enjoy, and no one to see him as a color, but as a colorful person, as someone who's got a gigantically beautiful soul, who's a smartass, but he's holding me captive. Send help.
You're going to train him in the ways of the tongue.
No, but I mean, this is what it's about. These kids we have, the people around us, our mothers, our aunts, our husbands, cousins, all those people, they deserve to get enjoyment out of comics. And we shouldn't have comics be something that's so divisive like it's been so much lately. It has to be something that's beautiful again.
Yeah, I mean, what we do is an example to the next generation.
Yep, and all these kids want us to be entertained, and they don't. I mean, the worst thing I ever see is when kids say something racist. I never get mad at the kid. I know it's that they've already been tainted by something that is in their household. Let's be honest. When you hear a kid say something stupid, And the reason my heart breaks is because I realize that now that problem is going to continue to grow. That's another missed opportunity where we've allowed it, and it's harder to unteach something. And we could see that now with comments that are being made. And yes, some of it's overreaching, like calling Cat in the Hat a racist book. That might not be always accurate. You know, I get that. But there are some things like that South movie, the Disney, what is the name of it?
Song of the South.
Yeah, that needs to be just destroyed. Like, honestly, there's no reason to keep that. I know some people would be like, well, we need it for historical sakes. No, I've seen that when I was a kid. There's nothing historically that we need to keep that for. You know, you could keep like a behind the scenes maybe of like, this is why this was so horrible. This is why we should never go back and do this again. That'd be fine. It's like, you know, the whole, we can't take down the Confederate statues because, you know, we don't want to miss history and we don't want to mess with history. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we have all those English statues around, right, of England when we don't? Wait, we certainly have the Nazi statues all over America, right? Because, we don't have Nazi statues. So you're saying we don't have statues of the people that we beat in wars, but we do for the Confederate War. Maybe we need to relook at some things like that. Maybe some things are just that simple. You know what you want to do? You really want to do something cool with the Confederate statues? Let's go out and make them those destroy rooms. We'll build up temporary housing around them, and we'll just let people go in and kill them with sledgehammers and all that. We charge admission. It's a new reality show. That would be cool. You're welcome, America. Blow torches allowed. Joe's like, I know a few statues.
No, it's just you put the nail on the head about the victor of the war tells the history. They don't. And again, this is the only country that does not dismantle that aspect of it because they kept it in the name of quote unquote history.
Like, I don't see any Nazi flags flying around my neighborhood, and I guarantee if there were, the police would have to come because their house where they were having their Nazi flag would somehow have caught fire because my family was tortured by Nazis, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let them that close to my child. It'd just be a response. I mean, I don't know how that fire would have started. It must have been wiring. Very bad wiring.
And that's the interesting thing because you never know what's going on inside of people's houses, and that's the bottom line. You know, we're a country that's based upon individual freedom in your own settings, in anything that you own, like in your own house, in like your own synagogues and stuff like that. But in public, no. The victor of the war writes the history. Period.
But I mean, if you see everyone be honest here. If you see one of those, what are they called? The Confederate flags in front of someone's house or on their car, you're like, oh, you're one of them, right? Like, you're like, okay, we're never going to be friends. Like, I don't care why you have it. We're just not going to be friends.
I can't really say that because remember, I grew up with Dukes of Hazzard. And if you remember the General Lee, the Confederate flag was right there on the roof of it. On the roof of it.
Yep,
so not everything that's Confederate was always painted as negative.
Yeah. But I was going to say, I didn't know that it was a bad thing because I grew up with the Dukes of Hazzard. And I was just like, yeah, Bone Luke Duke, you know, just.
But do you have it on your car now is the question.
No.
Like, you might have the Dukes of Hazzard car, but now you know well enough that you have to hide it in the closet.
Yeah, but does that mean I have to throw out the kids' Matchbox cars?
No,
you know?
Closet.
Keep them in the closet. It's a collector's edition. Keep them in the closet.
So often you go to the closet, you look at it and go, I wish that they never did this to me. They've ruined something. Damn you, Bill Cosby. I mean, sorry. Wow. Went down a different.
Wow, you going to knock Jello all of a sudden.
Oh, man. Jello. Uh-oh, what happened last night? That's what the O from Jello was. Oh, shit. What happened?
I'm sorry, Mary, for that one, but he just left it wide open. He left that one wide open.
Meredith's calling for help. Meredith's like, this show's gone off the rails totally. But no, I mean, and again, this is a show The doors are open. You can come in, and if you're not, I'm sorry, you don't get to say something after the fact. We even read the comments as long as you're not. The proper term is the douchebaggery. If you're not the douchebaggery, you get read on the show. But if you're a douchebaggery, you do not. Speaking of reading some comics, what is up? Totally excellent. Oh man, I think of Bill and Ted. I want to play the Keanu things again. See, it's a crush. It's a man crush. It's scary how the world can mold the generation. It's no longer television. It's the internet, and it's so easy to reach. It really is. Like, I have seen my son watch things, and he's 5 and autistic. He would not understand on any day what he's watching, but I do. And I know just him being exposed to it is so very, very horrible for him to be seeing. Yet there's no report button on YouTube that's easily accessible from the app. There's no real parent, because I have them on a parent lock, and they still get these videos by. Because, if you're in Russia, you don't care what you're doing. I totally agree, but it's up to us to stand up. I'll never forget the quote. It's when good men stay silent that bad things begin to happen. And I know I'm not getting the quote exactly. And yes, it was good men because it was written back in the day. Don't make it a thing. Yeah, it's women too. If women allow things to happen, then bad things will happen continuously. It's all up to us to stand up for what's morally right. And I know people are like, oh, everyone's morals are different. Some things are easy. Hating someone because of your skin color, that's not something anyone should even for a second doubt. That is a problem. We need to get past all that. We have to get to a point where these kids never have to be exposed to it, right? So I completely agree. All right, Meredith, read one.
All right, from Mike Wheeler, I have zero problem with anyone ripping down Democratic Confederate statues. As long as they don't land on anybody else.
Was the
no, I'm laughing because of the term that he used.
But was it a Democratic? I don't even know if it was like why. I never heard. I guess I'm thrown. I never thought of the Confederates as Democratic.
They were neither nor.
Yeah, right. Like
neither Republican nor Democrat.
And you can't even call yourself Democratic when your whole platform is, well, we want to keep one certain group of people as property. I think you lose democracy when you say that. And that was kind of the whole point of the war, was this country was like, wait, maybe we're not democratic if we keep doing this.
It was sarcasm. It was sarcasm on his part. That's the thing that I caught with it. He's being sarcastic.
What's up, Tori Hill? We have Rogue Artistry joining us. What's up, dude?
Hey, Tori.
What's happening? How y'all doing, man? Just listening in on this conversation, bro. Y'all be getting it in on here.
I have a very strong feeling about Bill Cosby. I'm sorry, it slipped. I apologize.
Wait, he said, well, we going after pudding pops now? What's that comment that was up there?
Nah, man. Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
You're good, dude. You're good.
Nah, man. I tell you what, man. Like, I was just listening in. Like, the whole Confederate thing got me. But, like, bro, like, I was having, man, I'll manage a U-Haul, man. And, bro, I'm going to tell you, like, we get all kind of people in there. And a lot of people just let you know how they feel, you know. And when they start talking about the Confederate statues or racism or anything like that, like, bro, I'm not the type of guy to be like, nah, man, you can't talk about that. Now, if it's people in the store, I'd say, please don't. But truth be told, bro, people going to feel how they feel. You can't change it. You can change what's acceptable in society, which is what we need to make it safer and better for our kids. But when it's all said and done, man, people going to feel how they feel. I truly believe, though, that in the next 20 or so years, bro, the whole, segregation thing by some kind of color, that's going to be gone, dog. Like, those people are almost out. You feel me?
I want it to be there so bad, dude. I really hope
man. Bro, you're going to be there, bro. You're going to be like 1,000 years old. Cut it out.
I know. I heard that today. I went to the Matrix. I was like, shit. I never thought of it that way. Damn you, Joe. Now I'm going to have nightmares.
Yes, you are the Mr. Henderson.
That's right.
You can't be anybody else.
See, I didn't grow up with this this separation and things. I mean, my mother's Korean. My father is Irish and French Canadian and all that.
Nice.
You know, I'm a Heinz 57. I'm an Army brat, so we lived in Korea, we lived in Maryland, Vermont, you know, a few other places, and then we ended up in New York. And so I had some exposure to a diversity of colors. And
Okay.
we had them over all the time. You know, that it was like Friday night poker night with the boys, and all the kids were playing. And I never grew up with that. So I see
Right.
that now as an adult, and I'm confused. You
I
know,
hear you.
I
No, I hear
don't
you.
understand that.
Yeah, all my brothers are military, so like every single one of them, like whether it's black, white, blue, green, Asian, straight, gay, whatever, like them dudes, like you band when usually something like that occurs when people ain't never seen something real. Like
Mhm.
when you see death firsthand, you know, my brother used to tell me this because I asked him once. I said, "Hey man, do y'all really treat people foul like the Iraqis and stuff foul?" He was like, "Nah, bro." He was like, "They see more death than anybody, and they don't treat us foul, so we don't treat them foul at all." Like the truth is once people seen some real stuff, that whole idea of I'm better than you and all that, man. When you see some real stuff, that's how you know, because the dude or person is extremely humble. They've already seen the worst of the worst. So that's just a sad thing when you see it. I look at it like it's life immaturity. An individual with an idea to hate someone or be prejudiced against anyone because of their beliefs, or just like last night, Advocate was talking about the furries. You know, like, man, I told that woman straight up, do your thing. Like, forget what they talking about, because that means they just ain't got nothing better to do. You know what I mean? The Confederate flags, I, for one, believe, like, why are we celebrating a losing team? Just like I don't believe in giving trophies to a losing team.
Mhm.
You know, like, yo, they lost. Let it go.
Harder. Work your ass off more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
That was the thing, you know, even my kids are grown now, but when they were little and they started that every kid is a winner. And I'm like, how are they going to learn how to handle disappointment then? Because that's life.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you seen the news? They have not learned how to do it.
Man,
But to speak on your point, one of the cool things about the military, especially from my point of view, being a veteran, day one when you go into boot camp, the very first thing that they teach you: look to your left, look to your right. Don't see color anymore. That's your brother. That's your sister. You protect them just like they will protect you. If you do not, there's hell to pay.
Yes, sir.
And that's the realest of the real. You know, you have to rely on those people that are around you. You know, that's was training from day one.
Yep. Yeah, man. It's my brother, he came home, he did 3 tours, man. Came home, got killed at the club. And he his funeral, man, it was so many people, man. Mostly vets, man. You know, my family's not that big, so it was so many people, man, of all different shapes, colors, sizes. You know, it was a beautiful sight. You know what I mean? And that's what we need. That's what we need. That's why I like listening to INDEE, man, because it has so many different types of people on here, and everybody's respectful and loving each other, man. I really dig that, man. I'm gonna be honest. I'm such a loner. I'm in Philly. I'm such a loner, man. I don't really trust people, don't like people from past experiences, but man, I can get on INDEE, and like you said, you a vet, man, and look to your left, look to your right. That's your brother, man. So I love how y'all come together on here.
Yeah, Varian, give credit where credit's due. Varian's always been very big on, and I have too, but never had the success he does with building a platform that is so diverse. I'm so proud to even have a part in this. And that's why we hate when the haters come in, when the crab bucket comes in, and they kind of drag the rest of us down. No, we want people. Like, look at this room right now. Look at the passion that's in this room. So many creators, and we have to continuously stop and talk about the haters. Because we know we have to address them so we can get back to making great comics. We want to get to the day where we can just show up and go, yo, what'd you create today? What's the next thing coming out? Every show could be that. But for now, we have to stand up to these bullies who are out there hiding behind Yoda, trying to stir some shit and not talking reality, not understanding. Not making room. Like, I'm sorry, but if you ever start a conversation, if someone says, "Oh, someone said something racist to me," oh, stop being a victim. No, that's the wrong first answer.
Oh, everything. Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got in those conversations. Don't get me wrong. Like you said, the crab bucket, bro. Like, those conversations are so important though, because someone like me, let's say me, I'm gonna give you a little quick background, man. Like I said, my brothers were military. I actually took the training that our stepfather gave us and decided to run a street life, right? So I'm out here, doing whatever when I was younger, and I came out of that, but I missed the point where I was young and drawing or young and writing and experiencing that, meeting the people maybe that some other artists met where they say, "Oh man, your work is good." Here I am, 30 years old, and I'm just now beginning to really delve into this craft, and I love it, love every bit of it. But it's people like the crabs in the bucket who will downplay your work, say it isn't good, say bad things about the industry to try to deter you. But one thing about you guys, and that's why I tune in, if you haven't noticed, I tune in a lot. I tune in because you guys attack those people, and I really feel like y'all got my best interests at heart. You know what I mean? I've learned so much from this place, man, from this channel, bro. Like, it's on top of my YouTube playlist right now, so I know when you guys go on. Sometimes I'm busy, sometimes I'm not, but man, keep having those conversations. Keep beating the hell out them bullies, bro. Fuck them bullies. Excuse my language, miss. I apologize.
You're good.
But
she's worse than you. You're better. Trust me. I've been in a room with her for an hour. She says things that I'm like, "Oh my God, why would you say that? Take that back." We're on a show last week, and she's like, "Well, Rob's interviewing skills. I'm so much better at interviewing."
Rob, you need some Desitin.
There goes my feelings. Get the chip.
There it is. There it is.
Feelings are on the floor.
Yeah.
Man, all right.
Y'all doing y'all thing.
Let's end this on a positive thing. How can they follow everyone in the room? We'll go in reverse order. Start me out, man. How can they follow you and get some of your great creations?
All right, man. You can go to Tory Q Hill, TORIQHILL at Gmail to message me personally, or go to Instagram, same name, TORIQHILL, Tory Q Hill on Instagram. That's the only way to reach me.
All right, Joe.
All right. You could get to our comic books at exigencystudios.com. That is XIG as in George, E as in Edward, N as in Nancy, C as in Charlie, Y as in Yankee, studios.com. You can follow me on Facebook at Joe D. McPhee, or on Instagram at SilvBolt. That's SILV as in Victor, B as in Baker, OLT. And if you do have a DeviantArt account, I am Silverbolt14 on DeviantArt.
My man.
Very cool. Hey guys, I'm Meredith Loughran. You can find me at geekinsider.com. I am also on Comic Book Advocates Network and Terraform Comics. But if you want to do a Google search, look for MEREJ99, and you're going to see a lot of my content popping up there. So it was a pleasure to be part of this panel. Thank you, Rob.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're on mute.
I got the crazy 5-year-old behind me, the Overlord. The Overlord is like, shh, I'm trying to go to sleep. Thank you all. I know it's a holiday weekend. I appreciate. Oh, see, there we go. He's yelling at me. He's like, "Put on the TV, old man. Put on the TV." So I appreciate you all being part of this today. Look, he's begging for it. He's like, "TV, go lay down. I'll be with you in a minute." So I'm trying to get Randy. Yes, in a minute. Go lay down. I'll get you TV.
That is cute.
Yeah. The Overlord is like, now, damn it. So I'm trying to get Randy.
He even said it.
I'm trying to get Randy in the room. I'm being dragged away. Hopefully I can get Randy. Meredith, tell him about Terraform. Oh, there's Randy. Randy, please tell me about your show for a minute.
Why do you need me in the room? And Rogue, thank you so much for your kind words. I want to tell you that I appreciate hearing that deeply. And that's exactly why we're trying to do this channel. You know, we want everybody at the table. We want everybody in comics that want to be here, and not, and the people that want to learn, we want to teach them. So, and I appreciate you deeply. I do.
Yes, sir.
Randy, your show tomorrow. That's
my show tomorrow at 9 a.m. Sunday Funnies. Where's the brand on that? Come on. Wow, Sunday Funnies. Apparently, we're going to have Grain on. But yeah, Sunday Funnies tomorrow at 9 a.m. Where we talk about the more lighthearted and whimsical parts of comics, not necessarily your deep, dark, fantasy-oriented comics. Looking forward to that show tomorrow.
All right, 9 a.m. Eastern.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central.
Yep, Eastern time. Yep. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to have the creator, I think, or creators of Grain on, as well as Daphne will be popping in again, and probably John Celestri. I'm not sure yet. I don't think I've talked to John about whether or not he's coming on. If not, then we will definitely still be talking about his crowdfunding book, because he needs all of the promotion he can possibly get his hands on for that book. Everybody needs to see and get in on that if they can.
That's where I get an education each and every time I listen to that show. Between yourself, Randy, and John, I learned stuff that I didn't even know I didn't know.
Thanks, Joe. I've been doing this a long time, and part of the love and the fun of doing this is by getting as many different directions on this art form as possible to work in this art form. That's the whole key to this. You're waving?
Oh,
I said hello.
Kino Subway said hi.
Kino Subway, hello.
Yeah, and we have a couple.
And I honestly did not mean to walk in on Rob's program at the last minute, because I hate it, absolutely hate it when people do that. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine, and here I think I've done it the last 3 or 4 times. So I deeply apologize for that.
You were invited in.
And you have an open door all the time on the show, and I want you to promote tomorrow's show, because I love that show. Like, we needed the lighthearted stuff, because we had tonight's discussion. It gets heavy. We had some fun. We had some Jell-O jokes. We had some pudding jokes, but we need a show that's really funny to get to balance it out.
I almost came in a number of times, because I always see IndieVolt as an intelligent adult discussion. My phone's dying. Okay.
Later, okay?
All right, Rogue. Thanks again, buddy. Thank you.
One time for an interview.
Yeah, absolutely. I always see IndieVolt as a place to have intelligent adult discussions. And when you have, and I'm going to be opinionated and kind of pull up the soapbox here, when you have chicken shit assholes pop up in the chat that want to hide behind a sock account to give a freaking opinion that they ought to be embarrassed about in the first place, they just need to go away. We're not here for this. We're not here to turn our program into a Twitter circus. We're here for an intelligent discussion. Everybody was welcome today. Rob planted the link in the chat, and you should have dropped your Yoda SJW BS and had the guts to come in and actually talk like an intelligent adult. And I'm sorry, but that's exactly how I feel about this. And if you can't do that, Yoda SJW, stay the hell away from IndieVolt, please. Because we want to teach people, we want to have a adult discussion, not a freaking Twitter circus. And quite honestly, how dare you try to drag our channel down to Twitter level? And I am personally insulted by that, deeply. So straighten up, get an education, and become an adult. Was that mean enough?
No, not mean. Honestly, like I'm being nice because I'm in there.
Varian and I have been talking off camera, and he's a little under the weather again, and didn't want to come on, but that riled my butt up. You know, you're always welcome. Rob had that link in the chat. You were welcome to come in and talk like a human being, and you won't do it because you want to drag us down to freaking Twitter level, and I resent it on this channel. I resent it, and stop it. You ever do it again, we'll block your ass. And I have a pretty good idea who you are, buddy, to start with. I ain't naming names or going to drag any more of this conversation on, just to say we are an adult platform. We want to have an adult, intelligent discussion. And how dare you try to drag it down to a Twitter circus? Shame on you. Shame on you.
Amen. And I do want to, we're running,
it.
I have to cut in, Randy, just we're running out of time. I want to get everything.
I'm done.
Mike Wheeler wanted to make sure, because we had said some things about, I wanted to get the clarification. He meant that there was not one founder in the Confederacy who was not a member of the Democratic Party. That's a fact. Look it up. I don't know if it's a fact. I'm just reading a comment.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's a fact. That's pretty close to a fact. The whole party at the time was divided, and the southern states were predominantly under the Democratic Party at the time. Yes.
Yeah, because I was going to say I don't think Mike could say it if he hadn't looked it up. So I'm going to take it as, I'm not like political, but Politico, whatever they are, the fact checkers. But it sounds good.
The party lines and platforms have been redefined a number of times since then. So that's the bare history of it. But Michael is right. Yeah.
There is no flag that this country or its citizens should fly other than the United States flag. I agree in a way, but there are other flags you should be allowed because this is America. I just think the American flag should always be on top. If you're going to fly a flag, the American has to be the tallest.
Well, there's a time and place for everything, and the place for history is in museums.
Yes.
Where this can be taught so that we don't make the same freaking mistakes again.
Exactly. That's why we want to teach history.
That's the key.
And Kino, Subway, you get the last comment on our way out. Dang, I arrived too late for the discussion. I'll catch the replay. It was a lively one. There was someone who tried to start off our show with problems. And again, the links are here. We're not hiding. This isn't like I'm not easy to be found. But you want to take cheap shots and run away by, like Randy said, a stock account. I'm right here. I am not going anywhere. You want to step up? Let's do it. And I'm not trying to threaten you. I'm giving you a way in. Come take a seat. We'll have a conversation. But understand, you have to be civil.
This is why I don't Twitter very often. Is because it's so easy to throw up a sock account and to just spit venom, and nobody deserves it. Nobody should be doing it. They should have the balls to come out and state their opinion face to face, man to man, in mano a mano, just like you invited everybody into the chat. We had some great guests on your show, and after a while, it turned into a good discussion. So,
yeah.
There we go.
A weed. It's like a garden. You got to get the bad stuff out of the way. You got to get the manure underground where it belongs. Suddenly, you get flowers.
There's always idiots out there, but that's the way it is.
Sure. Ain't that the truth? All right, we're going to cut out so we can make sure that we stand to our 2-hour mark. I thought this was going to be a half-an-hour show all by myself. It became a lively one thanks to Meredith, thanks to Rogue Artistry, thanks to Joe D. McPhee, and thank you, Randy Zimmerman, for showing the angry Randy. I'm not fucking with you ever from this point on.
Well, there's just some, tomfoolery I don't want to put up with. That's not what this channel is for.
Yeah,
go play on Twitter. Just go and play in your little bucket and stay away from us. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to leave on a positive note. I know Randy's going to be like, oh, Rob.
My face is red.
Comics are awesome.
All right, that's it.
And now the cleanup monkeys can come in to deal with the rest of it.
All the feelings.
Why are you defaming our monkeys?
No, we're using them. We hired the monkeys from Chip Monkey to come clean the feelings out of the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, getting rid of the feels.
They're going to be so
Rub it away.
We're going to get full outfits. All right, we're out of here.
Friday or Sunday funnies tomorrow 9 a.m. We're going to talk about some fun stuff. So
we'll see you then.
It'll be great.
Until then, let's set this topic on fire. If anything on tonight's programming has hurt your feelings, please don't hesitate to send us an email to the INDEEDEVIL@gmail.com. That's Indie spelled right with INDEE. And make sure to subscribe to the Indie Volt YouTube network. Thank you for joining us. We will be back next week to